Welcome to Thirsty Reviews. We got some big time reviews tonight. We want to get right down to the action. First off, before we get in and start talking about the drinks, we want to let you know here in just a bit, some of our reviews will be talked all about franchises, remakes, and reboots. So it's going to be a very interesting topic. But it looks like you got a great drink over there, Chase Oz. What are you drinking right now?
Well, right now, it's a little pregame up. Always nice to have a IPA, a little Indian Pale Ale from Squatters. A little small brewery that's gaining some steam here. Unwind a little bit and relax and enjoy.
What drink are you planning on making us tonight?
Well, for this evening show, we're going to be talking about the Manhattan. Manhattan's a very popular drink among a certain crowd, and it's kind of delicate, and you get a lot of the people you don't make it the right way, or at least close enough to the right way. Even if you make it the right way, they're going to find something to complain about. So we're going to have a little bit Maker's Mark, even though Basil Hayden is the #1 rated if you ask the internet, but I like Maker's Mark better and it looks cooler, so that's what I bought. You're going to need yourself a little sweet vermouth and a little bitters, a little bit of measuring, a couple glasses, some stirring sticks, some ice. That's about all you're going to need for that drink.
Well, I can't wait to see you make it, so let's go ahead and get it started. Looks like you're going to grab some ice as you get started. Like I said, a big topic tonight. You know, one of maybe your most loved or hated topics. Are you a big fan of, reboots, remakes, or franchises?
It depends on the situation. I can be. Yeah, I'm not opposed to them, but just like this drink is very delicate, so is your franchise, your film, or your baby. You know, you're going to do it again, you want to make sure you do it right.
You're absolutely right. It's kind of like The Godfather. Godfather 1 was great, Godfather 2 was good, and Godfather 3 was like, what the hell? You know, so let's go ahead and talk about some of your favorite, franchises.
Well,
or not even franchises, I would even say, all the above, remakes.
Remakes, reboots, sequels you're talking about?
That's right.
One of my favorites. So, if you ask me, a little bit heavy on that. So I'm going to go, they say to go half portions of vermouth versus whiskey, but I'm going to go 3/4, got a little less vermouth, a little more whiskey, bourbon on there. So I got to go to, first off, we're going to say the Terminator, the first couple Terminators. Now I'm not going too far ahead on this franchise. 1 and 2. And that was, for back in those days, they didn't make sequels 20 years later. They made sequels, 2 or 3 years later. And this one was even longer than that, even more anticipated. So they did a really good job of turning Arnold from being a robotic killer to a robotic killer with a heart. Yeah, great job on the bad guy with the liquid magma. He did a really good job. First 2 Terminators in that franchise are really excellent. After that, I'm not going to have to say too much about that series. Oh, another favorite. I really enjoyed the Predator. If you talk about one that can remain consistent, versus I told you I kind of gave up on the Terminators after the first 2. Predator has always found a way to reinvent itself, make itself new, cutting edge, throw something different at the audience, especially in that shows versus one with there's 2 with Arnold and Danny Glover, and then going on Predator versus Aliens, and have we seen the many remakes that they've done with this, very successful. I really like those ones.
You're absolutely right, and I would actually even like to throw a small shout out to the Karate Kid series and the Matrix series. Always thought those were always great as well. Well, so now what's you gonna do to wrap this up?
Well,
Chilled glass, huh?
chilled glass. If you don't have the brains to do that, you might put a little bit of water and ice in your glass before you strain your Manhattan into a martini glass. And add a few dashes of bitters on top. You know, if you're talking about things in remakes, it's interesting because sometimes a remake is better than the original, but that's not very often. Get about 2 dashes there. So I have to say, you compare Eddie Murphy's Nutty Professor movies from the 90s versus the old golden oldie ones. I mean, hands down that they're better.
I agree. Same thing with the James Bond series.
It's been many Bonds. I think everybody has their favorite Bond.
Now, let me ask you one last question. Now that you got this Manhattan, you're ready to go. Looks like the holiday season's intact. We always want to know the funniest and most important thing. What was some of your least favorite trilogies? Your least favorite, remakes? And we want you to come on strong here.
So, I gotta say one thing. When you try to redo something that's so great, you almost make it worse. It ruins something that's gold. Sometimes it's best to let things be left alone. As in case in point, Independence Day. They should have never done a long term, like you can't even call it a remake or reboot, a long term sequel to a franchise, nearly 20 years later, to the point where you can't even bring your main star back, Will Smith. They did a very poor job when they did remake the Independence Day, or did the sequel versus the original ID4, which we all know with Will Smith was a really great movie.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you're a big fan of the Ghostbusters series. Do you have a comment on that?
Some would like to think a lot of the problems started when many fans waited a long time and they did a girls' Ghostbusters that's not even tied in to the same, it's a no universe now, is what people are saying nowadays. I never watched it, I never will. But I think the problem roots back to the original Ghostbusters, which was really not that great. It mainly got a lot of attention because of the cool song that came along with it and the one Marshmallow Man, the one, 6 minutes ago, that part of that movie. It only went downhill from there. Next thing you know, you got this weird guy with the painting coming at you and this goo coming up through the earth the next time, some creepy guy running around. Nobody wanted to watch that one. The girls one, yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad when the best thing in your franchise is the cartoon. But I can tell you this much, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'd stay away from that film.
Why is that?
Because it sucks.
It sucks.
Well, I could write some poetic letter and dissect it if you like most critics do, but I'm just real. I'm going to be real. I'm no critics real. I tell you it sucks. And if you want to argue with me, you can. It might fit for certain people that have families or a lot of daughters or something. You can't have 2 simultaneous love stories going on at the same time and bust the old original Ghostbusters out in the last 20 minutes. Oh yeah, in the meantime, we're going to make Spangler look like the biggest piece of trailer park trash you ever seen, where he's abandoned his family and he lives in the hills. I don't like that film. If you like that film, I got to question your judgment on what's good and what's not.